So somebody posted a question on the Spine forums, and it had to do with the Hitman and Gunman asset packs, and asked how to add animations. So I looked at this, and then I replied, and then I was thinking about it, and figured I might as well get around to making a tutorial for this. Calling my projects bowls of spaghetti. Okay, that's pretty fair. So here you go. I'm going to assume you already know how to use spine animation tools. I opted to create a very quick crouch animation. And then export it back into the Unity project, overwriting the other gunman package. So with the new Hitman spine file created, we can check to make sure there is actually a crouch animation on here now. And there is, and it does what it's supposed to do, and it's in looping. And one of the comments was when you crouch, the character just freezes, and they were curious as to where to add code to actually make the character crouch. Jumping right into Hitman controller, you'll notice there's an action state that's got common character traits like idle, walk, run, so on and so forth. It kind of makes sense to put this in with the idle, walk, run, jump. So that's what I'm going to do. So before walk, I'm going to add a crouch. And now we need to tell the character what to do inside of that action state. But before we do that, what information do we need to be able to crouch is usually defined up here in the variables. And I'm going to add it as another spine animation called crouch anim. So it shows up in the inspector as a convenient drop-down so we can select our animation. And drilling down into this code, should find down here in the update anim function. This is what switches animations back and forth as you jump through the states. I'm going to add a new case at the bottom for action state crouch, and simply set this to crouch anim. And the real question is, where do we want to actually add the crouch state? We definitely don't want to add it while the character is jumping or in the air. We want to add, typically where the character is on the ground. So if you scroll up to way back up here into handle physics, you'll notice that there's a few things in here regarding whether the character does slide. There's a comment here that says ground logic. That's typically what we're going to be working with here. And we want to add something that is basically an idle. I think it's actually exactly like an idle. And if we look through the code a little bit, if we're on ground or we're on a moving platform, if we're running, if we're walking, and if none of the above, then we are static and the state becomes idle. So I think it makes sense to add another if case here. It says if y is less than that, then we want to crouch. And I'm going to simply copy the idle logic into here because it deals with the moving platform, and maybe there's some other behaviors you want to exert during a crouch and you want to change this. It's better than trying to just dual purpose the idle. For example, if you wanted increased friction, you could set that here as well. So change the state to crouch. And we can give that a shot. Turn on my Xbox controller. And when we push down, character crouches. And if we start walking, like tilting the joystick to the left or the right, the character will override into the walk. Similar, if we're pushing down and press attack, the character will override into that. Slide will still work. Pushing down and pushing attack will cause a regular punch to happen. And that's pretty much the basics of adding a new crouch animation. But I want to go a little bit further and just show how easy it is using the action state type to add a new feature capability, let's say to attacking. So if we are going to attack, and that logic is here. Sorry, that's the aerial stuff. There it is. So yeah, just beneath the code we just added, there's also an attack was pressed. And we check to see if we should do the up attack. So if movestick.y is less than 0.5 attack regular, else do an up attack. We could also change this to include and state is not equal to action state.crouch. Because we know we're in this range of not jumping, so we can do the regular attack animations. We want to check to make sure we're not crouched. If we are crouched, we can just override and do an up attack. Or you could add another if statement in here as well. We can give that a shot. So when we're crouched and push the attack button, we immediately get into that, or we can push up and push the attack button as well. So crouch, up. And there you go.